Hi, my name's David Carrigg, City Editor at The Province. In tomorrow's print edition and online, we're going to be running a story about Vancouver Green and Cope Party wanting to cut in half the city's communications staff and budget. That's in reaction to the fact that that budget and staff has more than tripled in the past 10 years. We've got Bob Mackin here, who's a veteran reporter. He deals with city staff a lot. He goes through the communications department a lot. I spoke with him earlier today, and after an interaction that he had the previous day, said that the Vision communications machine is taking away democracy. Those are strong words, Bob, but what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean that Vision is cocooning itself within City Hall, and it really only wants to talk about issues and policies and procedures and spending that it wants to talk about. It is following a pattern that has developed in Canada, in British Columbia, by other governments of other ideologies and other parties of other ideologies that want to control the message. And by doing that, they want to be very deliberate about who they talk to, when they talk to, and when the media calls, they treat us differently from other citizens. They treat us differently from their own supporters. And they don't want to have a free-flowing conversation anymore. Us in the media since 2011 at Vancouver City Hall have been banned from interviewing the bureaucrats. They will not let us interview the bureaucrats anymore except for extreme cases. We can't just call them up out of the blue anymore or even ask for some facts and stats because these people fear for their jobs and refer us to the communications department. And the communications department will more often than not set up an interview, but will instead send us a written statement of a couple of sentences, maybe a paragraph if we're lucky, and more often than not, that statement doesn't even come close to answering any of the questions we might have.
Who's behind this policy? Who implemented it, created it?
Well, the policy was created in 2011 by City Manager Penny Ballum around the time that Vision got its second mandate. They're going for a third mandate election on November 15th. Penny Ballum came from the provincial government. She was Deputy Health Minister under the Gordon Campbell BC Liberals, and seems to have brought with her this template to impose upon the City of Vancouver, upon City Hall, a miniature or micro version of the Government Communications and Public Engagement Office over in Victoria, where there's a couple hundred people working. Some of us call it the propaganda department. They're the ones who put out the news releases and other communications materials through the provincial government.
Bob, obviously Vision Vancouver are a ruling party, dominant party, so they're probably getting extra attention. Do you feel that the NPA will be any different, really?
Well, Kirk LaPointe has said all the right things for a former newsman, but we have to also look at history, that back in 2008, Gregor Robertson, when he was running for his first term as mayor, he said that he was going to bring openness and accountability back to City Hall, and he said, "I will not let you down." That was his quote. We've had similar promises from back in the Gordon Campbell's days, from Christy Clark, from President Obama in the United States, that they would run more transparent governments. The proof really is in the pudding, and it tends to be that the person who does get into power does not always follow through on those promises. But what Kirk LaPointe has said has been rather enlightening with the lobbyist registry, an ombudsperson, and a new system of disclosure by default. He's offering items that are they're quite new to Vancouver, actually. Of course, the proof will be in the pudding. The proof will be whether he can win on November 15th. But of course, what happens November 16th is when whoever gets into power, the very next day they start plotting the re-election for 2018. So it's up to the citizens, up to the media to ask the right questions.